Peace and blessings, family. This is your boy Juro. It is Friday, 15th of December, 2017. I think it's the 15th. I'm not sure. I gotta look. But it's Friday nonetheless. You have made it on the backside of your week. I hope that you are well, sidestepping the negative by grounding your feet, speaking your truth, but most importantly, placing God first in all that you do. Why? Because you're going to need Him. And no matter what, sooner or later, you'll come to give yourself permission to acknowledge that one fact. Because we are His children. We are spiritual beings first before flesh. No different than that antenna that's found on your vehicle. We pick up the signals of life, the things we are exposed to, always given the choice by way of free will, how and what we respond to. But I'm a firm believer, family. This year, as it comes to a close, and oh yes, I am going to put my end of the year video out. Most likely, I'm going to do it next week for 2018. I'm going to put these spiritual breadcrumbs out. And no, there's nothing wrong with the camera. I look a little rustic, but it's been called on my spirit to make somebody a believer because you believe that for some reason you don't understand how not only priceless your life is, but how spectacular your temple, known as your body, is, and why it's so important that you give it the proper nourishment from the mental, the physical, and the emotional. Why that trifecta is so important when it comes to your life. Now, to go back to what I was saying, I look a little rusted. Reason for it, I am going to grow my hair out, just as I was told to do in my spirit now almost 5 years ago. I'm going to grow it until I am told to cut it off. I'm doing that for someone because you feel that you have to go outside into the world and pretty much accept the terms of what being adequate is, what being validated is, what feeling whole is about. And I'm going to tell you something. Those are all illusions. Those are nothing but preempted setups to keep you at bay, to keep you from you. All that you need is within you. You were given that the moment you took your first breath. Yeah, remember when you were, well, of course, you're not going to remember when you were born, but what I can say is The moment that you took your first breath, God put a spiritual seal over your life. And in your life, He gave you your gifts, your natural talents, but He placed two spiritual gifts. If you're a male, the gift of unconditional love and free will. And if you are a female, He gave you a third. And the third gift was the gift of nurturement. And it is a very sacred gift. And I'm saying this for someone because I know you're tired. You have gone through several seasons of trying to reinvent yourself just for your audience or the company that you keep, and you keep coming short. It is part of your frustration, but the frustration really is not your responsibility. It is the effect of the environment. Who am I talking to? Did I fail to mention the reason why you're finding these difficulties? Because you fail to realize this one fact. Yes, you're blessed. And you don't even know it. And as long as you go out into the world and allow the world to tell you, to dictate the way you are going to operate in it, you will be lost. And I'm saying this out of love. I am. Not everything that, listen, let me make this clear to somebody, because for some odd reason, there's a false impression that when I come on, it is just a means to judge, to prod, to kick those who may be in that low place. You might be in your emotions that you think that this is your bottom. But let me tell you something. It could be far worse. And I don't say that to be cynical, because a lot of times people fail to realize how precious your life really is. How many times have you heard people say, well, you know what? Yeah, I understand you've got these challenges, because that's all they are. And what is a challenge without a choice? That's why challenges exist, because you have to choose. Do I go left? Do I go right? Do I stand still? Or do I go forward? But before you can make the choice, you must be transparent. And that's why you used to always hear me echo through my videos through these years. Most important, do you know who you are? Most people can't answer that question. And the other question that they choose not to answer is this: what is your purpose? You get a lot of blank stares and a lot of unsettling silence, because to answer those two questions, you must have a relationship with yourself. But to have a relationship with yourself, you must have intimacy. And intimacy is not found or forged by the union of two physical beings. It is found within you. It is validated every time that you take a breath. That's why I always would always echo to the intended ear, intended heart. You already know your truth, but nobody can make you claim it. No one will understand your adversities because it's spiritual. But yet we're quick to allow those to distract us, to sway you from your path, because they know that that is a weapon, and that weapon is reinforced the more or every time you choose to disrespect yourself, to not see the value, to not see what makes you unique. You do know unique is nothing but a metaphor for being priceless. You do understand that, right? But it matters not if you refuse not to love yourself. Who am I talking to? That's why, see, I've got to reach the intended heart and intended mind, because I know that they're in a crossroads right now. Their mind says one thing, their emotions say another. And in between the two polarities is their physical self. And they're waiting for that validation. I feel your energy. I feel it. But that doesn't give you a pass to run away from you. You've got to do the work. And yes, I know that right now there may be a veil placed over your direction. That's when you're supposed to go in yourself. That is a reason why we pray. But guess what? There's countless people that pray just for lip service. They do that to appease those who are in their midst, and they use that as a weapon too. But guess what? You do also understand that there are a lot of demons on this planet. Oh, yes. The Jezebel spirit has been wreaking carnage through the ethers of this world, with our sole purpose of destroying lineage, destroying minds, and using any type of tactic to get you to disrespect you. I'm telling you to come on back home. Did you hear what I said? Come on back home to what matters most. What matters most is you. Always has. That's why when you look in the mirror, who looks back? You, the real you. Not the person that goes out into the world, not the person that is found on social media, not the person that is looking for the come up, the real you. So if you can't find comfort in you, what makes you think that you can find comfort with those who have access to you? We are what we attract, family. We are. Do you not see the commonality in that? Do you not? But if you want to just brush your shoulders, act like it didn't exist, you actually wonder why people will use the moniker of, I was in a dark place. I was just numb. Hold on, family, just 1 second. Y'all don't know. You may be hearing these strange noises, and that is nothing but Tyson in the background being a ham. And let me take care of them real quick, and I will be back. Give me about 45 seconds. One second, I'm gonna grab some more coffee while I'm up. All right, thank you for your patience. Oh, back. I'm back. Oh, knucklehead. Just see. Let's just show you. Because there he is. He's a little. Oh, wait a minute. Where is he? Where is he? Where is he? There he is. He's a ham. Got the tree up. Looking like, oh, the house has been straight. The house is straight. And y'all wondering about the lights? I got skylights up here. Oh, we got one. I got two of them. And the weather's not been, it's not cold enough, but the fire will be on real soon. Went and chopped up my firewood about 3 weeks ago. So you're looking like a Nat King Cole up in here. You know? But anyway, this is for somebody. Right now, you got a lot of false. I'm trying to pick my word because you know me. I don't want to offend, but people are going to find an offense and whatever, and that has no reflection on me because I'm going to speak my truth. And you have the power to unclick. This is for somebody. I know that we as people want to appease people when, like, for example, everybody is out getting gifts, and I have no other way but to say it. For somebody, do not allow your insecurity to have an impact on your financial status or your standings. Live within your means, whatever it is. There's going to be a lot of people running around with insecurity, and they're going to bust their budgets. Whatever your budget is, respect it. Because as I mentioned in my previous videos, you know what's going to happen on the 3rd of January? It's going to be a lot of phone calls made. And there's going to be a lot of realities revealed because guess what? It's the 1st of the month. Business as usual. And they don't care what you've spent unless their bills are paid first. So the devil's a liar. Give me 1 second, fam. Just one more sec. All right. I had to take care of that. Had to take some. I apologize, family. I really do. Now, as I was saying, respect your budget. But I think the biggest lesson that's going to be learned uh, during this holiday season, Christmas season, Listen, don't you realize there a lot of these people want to use the term holiday, don't want to turn around and acknowledge what they're saying. They're trying to water down your mentality. Holiday is nothing but holy day. And what is holy? It's about God. It's not about the 2-for-1 deal. It's not about false accolation. And I'm saying that, and I'm really having a hard time because I don't want to hurt somebody's feeling right now. I don't. That's never my intent. But let me tell you something. You are the gift. Your life is the experience. The greatest gift you could ever give somebody is access to your life. Not, oh, I saw this possession and it looks good on you. How about how does it make you feel? Can they grow from it? Is it applicable to their lives? The greatest gift you can give somebody is truth. Why we speed right past that? Why? Because when it comes to the test of time, you'll see the truth. Where are they? Where are they? Where are all those people? Because the reality is they were not forthright. But guess what? We are what we attract. A person comes into your life to be one of two representatives. They are your lesson. So the energy that you put out is the energy that will be returned directly or indirectly. But we don't talk about that. Why? Because that's truth. But I understand we want to romanticize life. We don't want to look at the things that are organic in our development. We actually think we're just going to smooth sail through time. Why is that not truthful? That's why I always would laugh and say, why is it everything that has the term reality TV has no representation of reality? It is not life. It is not real. It is entertainment. Why? Why won't we have that discussion? Because a lot of people know it has an impact not only for what makes your character, but it also defines your perceptions. What you believe is important, not what you know to be as fact. That is why when you take a cubic zirconium, no matter the size, and you place it next to a diamond, the diamond always shines brighter. It always is clear. The luster illuminates just off of the light. But that's real. Now, I would be remiss to not mention this. But if I didn't, well, things would just continue on. What is it, Gerald? What is it? For some of y'all that have been with me on my journey, my spiritual walk, you remember I used to tell y'all how it was very important to respect your body. And I even used to get little comments, and it was usually a lot of times because there were people that didn't want to acknowledge what I was already telling them. They already knew it, they just didn't want to hear it. And I said, the illustration of what beauty is, society will not protect that. And the narrative that was being exploited was not for your benefit. And I said, your body, your temple, eventually will get tired. Do not fall in the traps the society's trying to lure you in. And I got a lot of pushback because a lot of women was like, well, Gerald, you know, that's the creativity of a woman, and she has the right to do as she see fit, which you do. You do. I never said you didn't. But why is it now more than ever, which I also put out, Queen? One thing they don't talk about is the pandemic for fertility issues. Why? Because you have some people, one more time, God, you have some people that have a position where they believe that the earth is overpopulated and something needs to be done. And as long as you don't respect yourself, you're doing the work for them. So what's going on there? You have a lot of women having issues with fertility. This has been going on for a very long time, but I caught wind of this almost 5 years ago. And I said, you know, you're running off to that surgeon to get sculpted, but you can't manipulate your DNA. And eventually your DNA is going to say enough. And that is why I believe majority of all these neurological diseases, mind you, neurological is the mind. There's so many diseases and ailments out here. Look at when you cut the TV on. There's always some type of pharmaceutical commercial. But if you look at it or listen, it's neurologically connected. So it's the mind. Why aren't we talking about that? But society has convinced you you're not good enough. Guess what? You're more than that. You always was. You're priceless. But if you allow your self-esteem to be fragmented, demarginalized, you might as well be being, like I say, a pound of flesh. They benefit. They benefit off your insecurity. And they also benefit off your impulsiveness. So you've got to make a decision. You're going to be truthful to yourself. Because the moment that you decide to be truthful to yourself, change will come. Truth always comes. That is the litmus paper to your life. In other words, real recognizes real for a reason. But once you find out what the fact is, you are still given an opportunity to embrace or go another route? Why won't you go another route? I'll tell you why. Because most of you in society have a loyalty to your pain. Why? Because it's consistent. And that is all you know. In other words, if all I involve myself with, I'll use myself. Say, if every woman that was in my life was dysfunctional, and then a blessed woman came into my life and she was not, I'm going to look at her as inadequate because of what I've been conditioned to accept. In other words, I'll flip it. As a woman, if you in your mind say, these are the traits of a man that I need, but you settle for the wants of a man, does it not surprise you that your relationships always end the same? They don't have to. They never did. That's the real reason of being woke. You got these people out here talking about, I'm woke. I'm a woke. You ain't woke. You just in love with the term, because if you were really awake, guess what? You would be more closer to God than anybody that you know. You would be more fearful, and you would be more calculated because you realize an atonement has to happen. A time of mourning before the sun rises. And when I mean mourning, I'm talking repentance. That's why you have some people will actually easily cavalierly tell you, I don't want you to change. I want you to be the same. I just want you to be, you know why? Because as long as you stay in that mindset, they don't have to do any work. Who am I talking to? And they know that because in their mind, they're playing cerebral chess with your life, with your finances, with your associations. But indirectly, they are holding your dreams and aspirations hostage. But here's the kicker, though. They threw you the keys. So that means you could just unlock the door to your life instead of standing on the outside, looking at the trestle of the door. You do understand, Queen, King, the intended person that will unlock the other side of your heart is also the same person that will unlock the other side of your life. Did you know that? Did you know that? But guess what? If they don't have a relationship with God, they don't have a relationship with themselves. And if they don't have a relationship with themselves, they don't know where they're going because they don't know who they are. But what's really more sad is they don't have a relationship with you. So basically, you both are marking time, aimlessly going down the road of life. Does it surprise you that sometimes you go through periods of you just get blindsided, left, right? You're like, damn, I can't catch a break for nothing. You know why? Because they're in your life. And majority of those delays don't come from you. They are connected to you because of them. So you've got to make a decision. And for somebody, you already know that because just remember where your life was before they said hello. Who am I talking to? And not to sound crass, because this is for somebody. You will never find emotional safety with your legs open. That robs you of it. And that is the reason why today's society, if you just look, be silent, you will notice the dynamic that the women are convinced that they are men. And the men don't know how to be men because they're lost little boys. So what is the payoff on that, Gerald? Your life gets robbed. Delay is imminent. Maybe if you actually stop saying that you're strong and actually allow yourself to find your strength, this will be the last Christmas that will have the same theme as the ones before. Who am I talking to? Because your life is not a made for TV movie. It never was. Because you realize those people that you emulate, guess what? When the camera goes off, the real person shows up. When you gonna show up? Hmm? When you gonna show up? Because until you do, guess what? The person that you're destined to be is waiting. And I'm talking about your future self. They're waiting. And they're scratching their head and they're rubbing their face and they're like, when are you going to make a decision for me? When are you going to come out of that fog? When are you going to allow those things that you call, oh, I got just, I got little things about myself, but really that ain't nothing but a fetish. And what is a fetish? A fetish is really nothing but a crutch because that crutch is to pacify the truth. What is the truth? Are you afraid to be by yourself? Is that the reason why you're acting up on Christmas? You realize how many people walking around with just acting a fool. All you gotta do is listen, watch. Those are the ones that need to be loved the most, but they won't even admit it to themselves. That's sad. So it's pretty apparent that God ain't in that. It's pretty apparent that what should be deemed a holiday, holy day, is nothing but a means for revenue. That retail establishment don't care. They're making their numbers. And the more impulsive you shop, the more money they make. And this is not a slam on them because that's business. Supply and demand. I don't care if it costs $1 or $1 million. It matters not when it's on the rack. It only matters when you possess it. So when you gonna possess you? But as long as you don't, Them demons are going to possess you. And that's how they do. They always circle around. You see it in the people that matter most, what really have your focus. Because if these people really mattered most, guess what? Shouldn't they be the living example of your mind, your mentality? Otherwise, why are they there? Hmm? Why are they there? That's for somebody. But as I was saying earlier, I happen to have the TV on, and I saw that R&B artist K Michelle was on. I think that was The Real yesterday, and she announced that she's going to have surgery the beginning of sometime next month, and getting all that stuff out of her body because she's having complications. But guess what? Imagine what life would be like if someone supported her and said, you know what? I love you for who you are. Imagine if the people that had access to her spoke truth, told her what she needed to know by being the example. Because it doesn't matter who you connected with, you can't grow if they're the distraction. But guess what? They can't complete you because it's your story. But I know that's going to go in one ear and it's going to go out the other. And somebody today is going to still go forth to end up very hurt this evening, this weekend. You made promises. You might as well say you made promises with the devil because there's no reason why you are communicating with that person. You have nothing in common, but they know they have all the game. And they're going to play a game where you're going to lose. As long as you choose not to see your value, how can you understand or know what is required to be protected? Not everybody's supposed to know your story. Not everybody's supposed to know your dreams. And not to sound crass, not everybody is supposed to have access to hear you breathe. Not everybody has your best interest because that's how the world is. Yin, yang, positive, negative, cause, effect. Which one are you? Hmm? And I told you, as long as you worry about, I'm going to pump my brakes on this. I'll say this. We live in a world that people are more focused on being liked than being loved. Did you hear me? You worried about who likes you, but don't care who loves you? What's wrong with that? What's wrong with that? No different on social media. People will quickly say, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe. Oh, by the way, can you put something in my hand? Kind of dilutes the message. My videos are for the intended heart and mind. My videos are for you just to see the uniqueness in you. That's all they've always been. And I've been blessed to have a lot of people find my channel. That's why I do it. I do it to let you know that one of your greatest assets next to your soul is your smile. So why are you hiding it? If you can't smile in the environment that you're in, that's not the environment you should have been in to begin with. Because that's a telltale sign that you don't feel emotionally safe. If you can't be yourself in your environment, then you are choosing to put yourself at risk. So you have to ask yourself this: does it surprise you why things that you desire do not come to pass? But the commonality has always been that because you're not living your life. You're not. So you have a choice. You want to turn around and continue the generational curse that you've seen play out in your own families. Because you know what a generational curse is, right? That is to be able to see knowledge and do nothing about it. You condone it. Maybe you are the one that is going to make the wrong right. But there's a price for that. And yes, before I end this, does it surprise you how this week played out in the political realm? Have you noticed that when you see candidates out there and they're speaking, you have all these people behind them, and they got the biggest smiles behind them. But the truth of the matter is, these people are all opportunists trying to hold the coattail of whoever has the center of attention. And since we are what we attract, then that should tell you that the moment that your worth is no longer needed, came just as quick as they shall disappear. Who am I talking to? Oh, this is for somebody. What's keeping you in that job that you in? When you just got confirmation that a better opportunity is being offered. What are you afraid of? Take the opportunity. That's part of your growth. And I understand that there's some people that also believe that, Gerald, sometimes you got to just dumb down to go with the flow, but you're not part of the flow. You are the momentum. Let that sink in. This is all about growth. And yes, for those who are focused on their physicality, you do also understand that beauty cannot be bought. You do understand that, right? Beauty is defined by peace of mind. So when you're not happy, guess what happens? It's written all over your face. Why? The eyes are the window to the soul. So does it not surprise you? That's why they tried to make it a fad. You got the big glasses because they don't want you to see the truth. They don't want you to see how broken and afraid they really are. Maybe that's the reason why when you really long to have a nice conversation, it's short. There's no dialogue there. Why? Because there's an emptiness there. There's a void in them. And as long as you stay broken, they don't have to do any work. That's why you've also heard people say this. You know, Well, I got my issues and you got yours, but we're gonna ride together. And you're gonna ride into some more disappointment too, because two broken people can't make a whole relationship. That's for somebody. So stop trying to rationalize bad behavior. Well, Gerald, you know what? I'm with him, really because he don't put up with my crap. He keep me in check. You keep yourself in check. And maybe the reason why you really with him is because that's nothing but a manifestation of what you really long for, and that's a better relationship with your father. You realize how many women have walked around with daddy issues but don't want to admit it? And you wonder why you have so many sexual partners. Come on now, think about it. If you had a connection that you needed with your dad, God forbid, God forbid, you put your pride over your mortality. If you have an opportunity to heal your relationship with your father if he's alive, even if it's estranged, do not let time be taken away because you'll come to regret it when they're gone. And keep this in mind. Let's just use the example of the brain. You notice the brain? There are two parts. Actually, technically, there are four. But if you cut it in half, down the middle, just like you, right down the half. One side is from your mom. The other is from your dad. You realize how amazing God is? Think about it. And you're the blessing that came from that. No matter how dysfunctional they were, God still showed favor for your existence. Maybe you are the living example for them. That's why you always will hear this. There's always two sides to a story. Theirs, mine, and then there's the truth. But why is it when it comes to the truth, we don't want to talk about it? Don't you know the truth? Truth always will set you free, even if it comes by the trails of a tear. That's for somebody. So you can't blame them. You can't blame your environment for your numbness. That's a choice that was self-induced. Time for you to come back home to yourself. Stop being disconnected and stop trying to emulate what's outside in the world. Because as long as you're outside in the world, you'll be lost to yourself. You understand that, right? And there's countless people that choose that. And what happens? They fall from grace. And you know what happens when they fall from grace? Everybody that was boosting them up, they disappear too. And then they are in that hallowed place where they're forced to make a decision. Do I lay or do I stand? And a lot of times what ends up happening is you get pissed off because now you want to say, oh, they were never my friend. They were loyal. There was no loyalty. You want to make every excuse under the book, but look at the person that deceived you. That's that person in the mirror looking back. Because we teach people how we are to be treated. You understand that, family, do you? You can't sit up here and say, well, you did this to me. Nobody can make you do anything you won't sign off on. Otherwise, you wouldn't be there. And here's the thing, and I say this for another reason. You notice how we are in this season where all these allegations are coming out now for quite some time, but I still think it's not balanced because not one woman has been called for accountability because you're talking the human dynamic. And you can't sit up here and say, well, no, Gerald, no women's never done. That's no, that's not true. That's not true. But we have a lot of angry women that refuse to own their choices. Majority of that stuff would have never went down if you've never put yourself in a position. Because at the end of the day, and I said this a long time ago, if a person abused you, it is your responsibility to free yourself, not give them a pass. Not give them a pass. Because abused people eventually abuse other people. But you won't hear the people in the LGBT say that. They won't tell you that. They'll say, guess what? There was some pain in that choice. And they look for love. But guess what? That was predatory too. They don't talk about that. Why? Because there's a whole lot of manipulation going on. We just had a situation here in Virginia Beach. Murder, suicide. Two dudes, two guys. Wait a minute. What happened to the dialogue? Shouldn't they have your best interest? If you got to strong arm somebody to do anything, they will never have your best interest. If you got to take control, or in other words, don't you realize the people that are controlling have no control about their lives? Why we keep running past that? Because it's condoned behavior. We say, well, you know what? That just comes with the territory because he got money. Well, why can't you have your own? Do it yourself. But just as many, listen, that's why you've always heard women say, you know what? A woman is more slicker than a man on his best day. So I think that whole narrative with this Me Too thing going on should be balanced because I know there's a whole lot of people that did things that if the walls could talk, you'd be surprised. Well, you know, I just rubbed elbows, but your heart got broken. Your self-esteem got shook. And your emotional self-worth was compromised. But guess what? That's not your end all be all. It never was, unless you just decide to stay there. That's no different than being in an abusive relationship. And then they say, well, here, I'm gonna go buy you this car right here. You know, even though I didn't violate, I'm gonna buy you this car. And you take it. You're condoning it. Or you take the money. Well, he bought me a house, even though, you know, he was unfaithful, but he bought me that house. So I'm going to take the consolation prize because that's exactly what they're saying. And that's the human dynamic. Nobody's exempt. Nobody. But we're teaching our kids that that's acceptable. Well, you know, he acting up, but I guess what? I'll bring me another. We'll bring somebody in our relationship. You know, that way I know he don't cheat because we got her. Why are you there? Why are you there? Why? It's okay for him to do it, but if you decide to scratch, scratch, like, well, I want to do. Oh no, you can't do that. Why? And women, y'all do it too. You do it too. That's why y'all got starting five too. When one guy don't give you the attention, put him in a timeout box, but you got four more sniffing under your skirt. Why? You don't need that. But here's the funny thing about it. Materially, you'll end up gaining, but that's temporary. But at what price? Because eventually you're gonna have to pay that price, which means you're gonna end up giving access to people that should have never heard you breathe. Yep, even that one that's just been, I'm just gonna be your friend. He's been a nice friend. We've been friends for years. No, that dude just wanna sleep with you. And he gonna play his part till he can. And when he do, he gonna work you like a part-time job. And then he's gone. Same thing with Queen. Y'all do it too. Y'all do it too. You're gonna be nice. You're gonna say everything you need like it's scripted until you can get what you need, what you think you need, which a lot of times you end up playing yourself because sometimes God will put your blessing in your life and you'll squander it and you'll end up regretting it through your life. That's why you hear this all the time. You see some people say, well, you know what? I was married to her for 20 something years, but I loved her. But you didn't love yourself. If you loved yourself, why don't you be truthful? That's why it's so important to be communicated. That's why communication is so important, family. That's why. Because I'm gonna tell you what, as long as you get comfortable with a lie, don't worry about your direction. Because it'll still be waiting there till you decide to go back to it. Something to think about for somebody. Because I got a feeling somebody said, well, you know what? I'm going to pack my bags and I'm going to roll with such and such. I'm going to go. I'm just going to spread my wings and go. Okay, you go ahead and do that if you want to. And you're going to be walking right into your demise because guess what? That was their plan the whole time to separate you from the people that really care about you, have your best interest, so they can control you, so they can consume you slowly. And they will. And you already know that. And some of y'all were like, well, you know what? I just don't want to piss him off because, you know, just something about him. I don't know. Nobody can do anything to you you want to lie. But if you're playing with destruction, eventually destruction is gonna play you. God's praying for you. You know I am. I see your worth. And for that, it helps me discern my no excuses, Queen. I'm doing this for you. I'm gonna grow my hair like I did 5 years ago. So stop trying to convince yourself, well, my hair won't grow no more because of everything. This is your crown. You do understand that, right? Your hair follicles are like spiritual antennas for the soul. Maybe that's the reason why you're distracted, because you can't receive what you need. And you also know that that's also somebody's spirit too. When you put it on, human hair, that's somebody's spirit. And they're making a profit off your self-esteem. You better claim it back. You're worth it. Be blessed.